This is the government news brief for Wednesday, December 2, 2015. I am Azim Khan. In the news, regional and international bodies support Guyana against Venezuela's claim to the Essequibo, a ban of one product open doors, and education audit guiding improvement in the sector. These and other stories on this edition of the government news brief. The rice industry continues to record exceptional growth. General Manager of the Guyana Rice Development Board, Nizam Hassan, is reporting a production growth of 7% at the end of November over last year's record high production. Shanta Gobadan reports.
According to the General Manager of the Guyana Rice Development Board, Nizam Hassan, production as of the end of November was 681,517 tons. This is a 7% increase over the whole of 2014 production of 635,235 tons. Notwithstanding the loss of the Venezuelan market under the Petro-Caribbean Rice Trade Agreement, Hassan also reported a 10% growth in rice export as at the end of November compared with the same period in 2014. At the end of November, rice exports stood at 497,176 metric tons compared to 451,422 tons for the same period in 2014.
We're optimistic that we will surpass all of last year's export. Of course, we expect that it will be in the double digits, but let's see what will happen in December. So far, given the contracts that we have on board, at the end of October, there was almost 200,000 tons of rice contracts that were committed to by the private millers, and thus we are seeing that exports are ongoing, so we expect to surpass that figure that we did in 2014.
In light of the industry's performance this year, pressure continues to mount to find new markets. According to Hassan, the government is committed to assisting the farmers to find markets and is currently working to tie up the Mexico market.
We've had 2 conference calls with one with the private sector officials in Mexico, which is the Mexican Rice Council, and then also the public sector agency, DICONASA, which is an agency in Mexico that does imports. We're in discussions with both parties. The conference call was favorably received, both calls. Guyana has supplied the phytosanitary information that is required by Mexico, and we have indicated to Mexico that we want to accelerate that process. And thus we are going through that period of establishing the necessary protocols with Mexico with respect to the phytosanitary arrangements.
The end-of-year rice production projection has been set at 703,462 tons, 10.7% over the 2014 record production level. For the Government News Brief, I'm Shanta Gobadan reporting.
Regional and international bodies are maintaining their support for Guyana against Venezuela's claim to the Essequibo region. Once again, the Commonwealth and CARICOM have spoken up in support of Guyana in the border controversy. Shanta Gobadan tells us more.
According to Barbados' Prime Minister and Chairman of CARICOM, the Honorable Frondel Stewart, the Caribbean community has clearly indicated to Venezuela that Guyana's territorial integrity is not up for compromise.
1899, there was an arbitral tribunal that decided what Guyana's territory was going to be and what Venezuela's territory was going to be. The decision of that arbitral tribunal has not been reversed, and it cannot be reversed by rhetoric. It cannot be reversed by protests. It cannot be reversed by hostile acts or seemingly hostile acts. It can only be reversed by a judicial process, because the arbitral tribunal was a judicial process in the first place.
The Prime Minister made this statement at the recently concluded Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Malta. Guyana has also been supported by countries of the Commonwealth. This is according to outgoing Secretary General of the organization, Kamalesh Sharma.
Express solidarity as Commonwealth with Guyana on the question of the territorial dispute with Venezuela. And I have very close relations with the foreign minister, Carl Greenwich, who is a member actually of the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group, which is the custodian of your core political values in the Commonwealth. So Guyana is at the heart of the work that we do.
The 2015 Commonwealth meeting saw the heads of government reaffirming their unequivocal support for the maintenance and safeguarding of Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity. For the Government News Brief, I'm Shanta Goberdan reporting.
The ban on styrofoam products takes effect on January 1, 2016. Styrofoam is known to cause damage to the environment, particularly its contribution to clogged drains, cokers, and canals. But the ban also opens up opportunities in other areas. Seneca Thorne tells us more.
Styrofoam makes up about 2 to 5% of the waste stream and is used mostly in the food industry in Guyana. The improper disposal of the single-use item has been and remains a threat to health and the wider environment, incurring huge cleanup and disposal costs, which is borne by taxpayers.
The word ban invokes a negative perception, but this effort must be seen as a unified approach to tackling the solid waste scourge. The ban is not taking away something, but instead provides an opportunity for us and Guyana as a whole to go down a sustainable path towards fulfilling the vision of a green economy. We cannot do this alone. We need all hands on deck. Collaboration and transparency is key.
The private sector, which supports the ban of the product, has assumed its role and today held a consultation with civil society and other stakeholders, exposing them to new biodegradable alternatives to styrofoam.
We have to put mechanisms in place to deter illegal importation of styrofoam into Guyana and ensure that all stakeholders and agencies are fully aware of the proposed national standards for styrofoam.
The Department of Natural Resources and the Environment has begun implementing a series of measures to address waste management and to promote the use of biodegradable materials. Styrofoam has detrimental effects to the environment. Research has shown that styrofoam has severe harmful effects and it's better not to use it as it has a negative effects on plants and animal life.
The Ministry of Education is using the findings of the recently completed audit of the sector to guide its improvements. Paul McAdam reports.
Minister of Education Dr. Rupert Rupnarine, upon taking office, launched a commission of inquiry. This body, comprising senior educators and experts, is tasked with examining the state of education locally. An audit of the sector has been completed and elements of the report are being fed to the commission, according to the minister.
My own feeling is that education is so central to everything that we can't afford to fail. It means that, in all the schools throughout the 11 education districts, because we have 10 regions and Georgetown, which is a separate district, throughout the educational system, I believe that there are a lot of things that we need to do, ranging from, the physical condition of schools, the physical condition of sports facilities in the schools, phys ed facilities in the schools. These are things we need to address and address urgently. But these are the simple matters to my mind. These are, a question of making an assessment of the physical condition and try to move, the budget and so on that will be required through the cabinet. And there's no resistance in the cabinet to upgrading the entire education system, none whatsoever, because I think that the cabinet is convinced, as I'm convinced, that if we don't fix the educational system and get it right, then nothing else will work.
The minister explained that the education system must be able to produce well-rounded youths who are capable of doing much more than just regurgitating information.
We have become great at regurgitation. We have all these, impressive exam figures and so on. But for me, the education of the child is a far more complicated matter because you're dealing with the growth of a child, and that growth has to take in art, culture, music, and so on.
The intention is that well-rounded youths will follow suit as adults. This will result in citizens who will help to develop Guyana in a holistic manner.
78 years and still going strong, Lady Northcote today resumes her duties plying the Georgetown Port Kaituma route. Shanaza Low reports.
The vessels fully function after 2 months of investing $140 million in repairs. She has been plying the waterways for 78 years, and following extensive rehabilitation, it looks like Lady Northcote will be on the rivers for quite a few more years.
Yeah, it's a very good improvement from the previous state that it was. And as you can see, the passenger and the cargo aboard the vessel, very helpful to the people in the Northwest.
All the refurbishing that was done and things, so she's expected to make pretty good timings and everything than the previous time that she used to make. The only thing that was not changed on the vessel is the main engines. Hull platings and so forth were changed on the vessel and she's quite comfortable now.
The rehabilitation of Lady Northcote is part of a bigger plan which the government has to improve river transportation. 2 other vessels, MV Kimbia and MV Sandaka, are currently being rehabilitated at an approximate cost of $140 million.
The work that was done is very much well did, and it shouldn't be next 2-3 years probably any serious work.
The faithful passengers who were this morning boarded for the trip to the northwest of Guyana were excited that the ferry is up and running.
The way how they brought it out, it looks brand new. So I hope that it performs like the way it looks.
With the overhaul done of the vessel, Lady Northcote is expected to arrive at her destination in less than 24 hours, a considerable decline from its previous 36 hours of travel.
That has brought us to the end of the government news brief for Wednesday, December 2, 2015. All our programs can be viewed on our website. We are also on Facebook and on YouTube. Our Guyana Nice photo of the day is from Asafo Jones. Send us your Guyana Nice photo so you too can be featured.